welcome to the Dr. Wyatt Show podcast, for developing a long-lasting, happy relationship is the status symbol to achieve, and following my tools is one path to help get you there. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt Fisher, a licensed psychologist specializing in couples counseling. If you are ready to move your relationship out of roommate status and into lover status, out of business associates and into partners, if you're ready to break down your walls, if you're ready to resolve your resentments, sign up for my most comprehensive resource, my ER Marriage Intensive, starting January 28th. ER is a 6-month program, and it includes multiple layers of support so that you can finish ER knowing how to resolve conflicts, knowing how to communicate better, knowing how to nurture emotional intimacy, knowing how to share power on decisions, knowing how to be an amazing partner. That's what you're gonna get out of my ER Marriage Intensive. So if you're ready to go all in 2025 for your marriage, I highly recommend checking out my ER Marriage Intensive. It begins January 28th. The link is in the show notes. So today I'm gonna talk about how to build emotional safety. Emotional safety is something we don't talk about too often, but you might hear it thrown around a lot. But in relationships, it's very important to feel safe. Obviously, we want to feel physically safe, but what we don't talk about very much is we also want to feel emotionally safe. Because when you feel safe, you let your guard down. When you feel safe, you become more vulnerable. When you feel safe, you're open to more levels of intimacy. So safety is a core ingredient in a healthy relationship. So you should ask your partner tonight, how emotionally safe do you feel with me? And see what they say. They may say they feel extremely safe, or they may say not very much. And if they say not very much, ask them why. Ask them what you can do to help build emotional safety, because a good marriage is centered on both partners feeling emotionally safe. So today I'm going to go through 5 ways you can build emotional safety in your relationship. The first one is be reliable. Can your partner count on you? If you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Do you follow through? Is your word dependable? Do you have integrity in that way? Some of you probably do, and some of you probably struggle. Those of you who struggle, you probably have a reason why you didn't follow through. You have a reason why that didn't work out. Maybe you forgot, or maybe something else happened. But if you're not keeping your word, even on the little things, I'll be home at 5. Or, yes, I'll pick up a gallon of milk at the store. Just the little things, so that you can become dependable and reliable. That's one layer of building emotional safety. I can count on my partner. Number 2 is being a team player. And that means you're awake. You're paying attention. You're seeing all the things that need to be accomplished. You see the dinner that needs to be prepped. You see the kids that need their homework helped. You see the dog that needs to get a bath. You're awake. You see the bathroom that's really dirty and needs to get cleaned. You're awake and you're focusing on everything going on in your life, and then you're communicating with your partner and being a team player. How about I do this and you do that and that? What do you think? How about I chip in and do this over here? Or how about I take Johnny to piano because I know you're busy cleaning the kitchen? So you're mindful and you're focused on all the things going on in your life together, and then you're chipping in. You're a team player. Your partner doesn't have to come to you and say, hey, get off the phone and come help. They don't have to come to you and say, hey, turn off Netflix, turn off the game, and come help. They don't have to say that to you, because you're a team player. You're proactive. You're focusing. You're paying attention on what's going on around you, and you're proactively chipping in. You're proactively digging in. And when you're doing that, you're emotionally safe. Your partner can feel like they have my back. I have their back. We have an even workload. This is not uneven. We're both pulling our own weight here. And when you have that kind of climate in your relationship, it can create a sense of emotional safety. The third way to build emotional safety is do not be a hothead. A hothead is someone who is quick to anger, quick to quarrel. They fly off the handle. And when they fly off the handle, they get nasty. They say hurtful words, they lose their marbles. And when you're on the other side of someone losing their temper, it can be scary. And you can feel frightened. And you can wonder what's going to happen next. Are they going to say something hurtful? Are they going to hurt something? Are they going to hurt you? And you can have those thoughts even if they'd never have hurt you or never have hurt something. You still can be fearful that it might happen because their anger is scary. Is your anger scary? Are you a hothead? Do you lose your temper? Do you need to go through some anger management courses? Because if you're a hothead, your partner definitely is not going to feel emotionally safe. So the antidote to this is learn to control yourself. Learn to self-regulate your emotions. This is why I always preach the flooded concept, where the moment you notice yourself getting flooded out of your own integrity, you say the word flooded, and then you exit. You go have some time away from your spouse so that you can get out of fight, flight, or freeze. If your partner's getting flooded, just say the word flooded and then exit. Take some time to relax, both of you. Get out of each other's hair. You do not want to entertain anger. If your partner's losing their temper, you do not want to stay engaged in that conversation. If you're starting to lose your temper, you need to practice self-control and say flooded and then exit. Because if you allow your emotions to run their course with you, you're going to be an unsafe partner. Because if your feelings get wild and your feelings go all over the place and your feelings rage, that's very scary and unsettling to be on the other side of you. So if you want to be safe, you've got to work on your temper and become more controlled. The fourth way to develop emotional safety in your relationship is do not blindside your partner with complaints, especially complaints that you've been holding on to for months or maybe years. When you blindside your partner, it yanks the carpet out from under them. They don't see it coming. A blindside, by definition, is anytime you make a complaint that your partner does not see coming. And again, it makes it even worse when you make that complaint if it's something you've been feeling for a long period of time. Because what that does to the partner receiving that complaint, first of all, it's an awful feeling to feel blindsided. Like, what? You've been feeling that? I didn't know you've been feeling that. What? You've been feeling that for months? You've been feeling that for 2 years? When you are on the other side of someone blindsiding you, your partner, and it's something they've felt for a long period of time, it's an awful feeling. And you can then second guess everything else. What else are you feeling? What else are you holding on to? What else have you not told me? And so if that's you, if you tend to blindside, I highly recommend starting to use some of my tools. One of the simplest is the bullseye question. And that's where you take turns once a day asking each other, what's one thing I did right today? What's one thing I could have done better? Then all you say is, thank you for the feedback. And then you mull it over and you look for the kernel of truth. That's one of the simplest ways to stop blindsiding, because that provides a daily opportunity for both of you to get out anything that might be building up. So this is something that my wife and I have had to work on, because my wife has a tendency to bottle things up. She's very high in agreeableness on the traits of personality. And if you're high in agreeableness, that means you're a people pleaser. You want to keep the peace. You don't want to cause any conflict. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You just go with the flow. You're easy breezy. But you may seem like that on the surface. But what happens over time is you are stuffing down what is bothering you. You're stuffing it down. You're pushing it down. You're repressing it. And then one more thing happens and boom, like Jack in the Box, it all comes out. And we have had this encounter in my marriage where my wife acts like everything is great and I think everything is going well. And then all of a sudden something will happen where she gets upset and frustrated and then says she's been feeling this thing that she's talking about for months and sometimes years. And I had no idea that she was feeling that. I had no idea that that had been something she'd been bottling up. I had no idea that she's been stressed and struggling with something she's been feeling because she never said it. She never talked about it. And this is one of the reasons why I've developed some of my tools, is because I know what it feels like to get blindsided. And I know how uncomfortable that is. And I know also now how to prevent it. And a lot of these tools, the love buckets, the reunite tool, the bullseye, these tools I've designed are partially designed so that neither partner are blindsiding each other anymore. Because blindsides, they're not only uncomfortable for the person receiving it, it's also uncomfortable if you're the one bottling things up. Because that's no fun to store up all these negative feelings inside of you and you're just holding on to them. You're trying to let it go, but you can't because something has hurt you. Something has bothered you. Something has frustrated you. So bottling things up is not good for either partner. because the person bottling things up is going to pull away, then obviously when it all comes out and blindsides your partner, it's going to be really devastating for them as well. Number 5 is don't fix. If you want to create emotional safety in your relationship, you have to get into the habit of not fixing when your partner is venting. When they're venting about their day, when they're sharing their struggles, when they're explaining what upset them, what frustrated them, what stressed them out, you've got to do your best to only provide empathy in response like this. That sounds awful. No wonder X made you feel Y. I can see how X would have made you feel Y. Or that sucks. Those kind of empathy reactions create safety. It creates a climate of you're safe here. You can share here. You're not going to be judged here. What else do you need to say here? I'm on your side. I have your back. That's what empathy communicates. And vice versa. If your partner is venting about their day and you say, well, why'd you do that for? Or you say, well, you know what you should say to John tomorrow is, or you say, well, to fix that, you need to start doing this. All of those ideas you just shared are you trying to fix their presenting problem. I'm a fixer. I get it. I have the same tendency. I have to work at this myself because this has been a growth area for me in my marriage. My wife will share. I want to fix. And so if that's you, if you're a fixer, and if you want to cultivate emotional safety, you've got to learn to bite your tongue. And instead, you only empathize when your partner shares because only then are they going to feel safe sharing. So those are 5 ways to build emotional safety in your marriage. Number 1, be reliable. Number 2, be a team player. Number 3, don't be a hothead. Number 4, don't blindside. And number 5, don't fix. And if you are ready to move your relationship out of roommate status and into lover status, if you're ready to learn the skills to communicate, to resolve conflicts, to become a better partner, sign up for my most comprehensive resource, my ER Marriage Intensive. It starts January 28th, and the link is in the show notes. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to click the 5 stars and leave a review. I really appreciate it. And also be sure to click the share button and share this episode today with one other person, a family member, a friend that is struggling in their relationship that you think could benefit from this episode today. And if you have any questions you want me to answer on the podcast, be sure to call 303-578-0618 and leave your voicemail. Then I'll respond back to it on a future episode. And remember, your marriage is alive. If you care for it and nurture it, it will grow. But if you deprive it and neglect it, it will wilt and die. The choice is up to you. Take care.